All right, today we are jumping headfirst into a quest to master the NS3 network simulator. And our map for this adventure? It's the official tutorial scripts, which are designed to guide you step by step from a blank page to a really complex virtual world. So let's get started.
Think about it for a second. We're talking about things like 6G, massive networks of drones, or huge satellite constellations. You can't just, build them to see if they're going to work. So how do the engineers and researchers actually solve this problem?
Well, the answer is simulation. You see, they build these incredible virtual worlds inside powerful software like NS3. And these aren't just diagrams. They're basically these fully functioning digital labs where the future of how we connect is born and, more importantly, tested like crazy.
And really, the best way to get a handle on all this power is to go through the official tutorial scripts. Now, these aren't just a random folder of files. They're designed as a progressive journey. Each script is like a level up, a new skill you unlock on your quest to become a simulation pro.
Okay, so let's kick off our quest at what I'm calling level 0. Yeah, before we even think about sending a single packet, we have to understand the core engine of NS3 itself. It's the foundation that every single simulation is built on.
So our very first stop is this script called hello-simulator.cc. And what's so brilliant about this is that it contains no networking at all. And that's on purpose. It's designed to teach one absolutely fundamental truth about how NS3 works.
And here's the big secret. At its heart, NS3 is a discrete event simulator. Just picture it like a super precise scheduler that keeps a list of future events, like send this packet at 1.0 seconds, or move this node at 1.2 seconds. And then it just executes them in perfect chronological order. This script pulls back the curtain on how that core engine works, and that's the foundation for everything else.
Okay, now for the main event. Level 1 brings us to first.cc. This is really the hello world moment of NS3 networking. We're about to create our very first tiny little two-node universe.
And what's so cool about this is just how many fundamental concepts they pack into one simple script. You learn to create nodes, the computers. Then you connect them with a point-to-point link, that's the cable. Then you install the internet protocols, give them IP addresses, and finally run a simple app to actually make them talk to each other.
And here's the key takeaway. If you can master this one script, you understand the core workflow of NS3. It doesn't matter if you're simulating a global satellite network or a tiny little sensor in your backyard. You're tapping into the exact same foundational ideas.
All right, so we've built a super simple link. That's great. But now it's time to build something, a bit more realistic by combining different kinds of networks into one single, more complex world.
And this visual just perfectly shows the huge leap in complexity we're talking about. We're going from that simple two-node connection you see on the left all the way to the hybrid network on the right, a layout that looks a lot more like a real campus or an office network.
So this naturally brings us to level 2, second.cc. This script is all about moving past the toy examples and getting into the world of realistic network topologies, where different kinds of networks all have to play nice together. So what we're learning here is how to connect these different network islands, like say an Ethernet LAN and a point-to-point backbone. And the crucial part is, we use a special helper that automatically figures out all the routing, so a computer on one LAN can find its way to a server on a completely different one.
But what if our nodes aren't just sitting still? Welcome to level 3, third.cc. This is where we finally cut the cord and bring in the concepts of wireless communication and mobility. This is where the simulation really comes to life.
And honestly, this is a total game changer. It means NS3 can simulate not just the connections between things, but the physical world they actually exist in. This is absolutely essential for modeling things like Wi-Fi, vehicle networks, drones, really any system where position and movement have a huge impact on communication.
Okay, so up to this point, we've been building these virtual worlds. But, a simulation without any measurement is really just a fancy animation. So in this next stage of our quest, we get the power to see inside our own creation and even build our own tools.
And that brings us to level 4, fourth CC, which is all about observability. It answers the critical question, how do I actually know what the heck is happening inside my simulation? Because a simulation that doesn't produce data is pretty useless for science or engineering.
This is where you learn to turn your simulation into a real scientific instrument. You can generate text logs that show every single packet event, or you can even create PCAP files. And let me tell you, this is huge. Because PCAP is the industry standard format, which means you can open your simulation data in Wireshark.
the exact same tool network pros use to analyze real-world traffic.
So you have learned to build networks. You've learned to measure them. The real question is, are you ready to take that next big step and start creating your own custom behaviors from scratch?
This is level 5, fifth.cc, and this is where you make the jump from being just a user of NS3 to becoming an extender of NS3. It teaches you how to write your very own custom application.
And you've got to understand, this is absolutely critical for any serious work. Real research almost never uses a simple echo client. You need to be able to model unique custom protocols or specific traffic patterns. This script is that bridge that gets you there.
Okay, with all those skills unlocked in our toolkit, we are now ready to take on what I like to call the final bosses of this tutorial quest. These last scripts take everything we've learned and apply it to really complex research-grade problems.
So first up, sixth.cc dives deep into TCP, the protocol that basically runs most of the internet. This is vital for testing new congestion control algorithms, the very rules that stop the internet from grinding to a halt and could one day make your connection way faster. Then, seventh.cc levels up big time to advanced cellular networks, setting up complex LTE scenarios that get you ready for true research-grade simulations.
Whew, okay, so let's just take a quick breath and look back at the path we've traveled. It's a really clear, logical progression from the absolute basics all the way up to these incredibly complex systems.
And this table just lays out the entire quest perfectly, doesn't it? You start with the basic workflow. You learn to build hybrid and wireless networks. Then you learn to measure them and customize how they behave. And finally, you apply all of that to research-scale problems. Each level builds directly on top of the last one. It all just clicks.
So, there you have it. You've seen the map for the entire learning journey. The foundation is there. The only question left is, what new world, what future technology are you going to build first? Your simulation is waiting.